Hello, hello, hello. Welcome to the analysis video for NPAT 2025. Yes, NPAT just started. So some of our students have already started taking their first attempts, and this is the data that we've gathered after speaking to a few of our students. So how is the NPAT? What is the general difficulty level section wise? What are the general topics that are coming section wise? We're also going to discuss a little bit about the user interface that has slightly changed this year. And I think we will be able to cover everything that you would want to know before going for the actual NPAT. So yeah, the test structure has not changed as they had announced. The test structure remained the same. The three sections: quant, reasoning, and verbal. 40 questions each, so total of 120 questions in 100 minutes. Total marks still 120. And now, order of the sections, very important. They started with quants, then went on to reasoning, and then went on to verbal. Okay, so this is the default order. You don't really have a choice to choose the order. But very important, this time the user interface is such that you will be able to attempt any of the 120 questions at any point of time. Right from the first minute, all 120 questions are open. You can start with verbal section, you can start with logic, you can start with quant, absolutely up to your discretion. Okay, obviously no negative marking, no sectional time limit, everything is open all the time as we just discussed. Okay, great. Very important, some of you still have this misconception that calculators are allowed. Calculators are not allowed when it comes to NPAT. Moving on to the user interface, we have reconstructed a very simple user interface. If there is a official demo link also which takes you to the Pearson platform, and you will be able to see this kind of a interface there. Every question looks something like this. The name of the candidate on the top right. There is a button for flagging it. Then there is a timer, question number, and if you look at the bottom, it is previous, navigate, and next. Navigate will obviously take you to the question palette. You will be able to see all 120 questions there. After attempting, you just click on next and keep going to the questions after questions. So this is the layout for every question. Once you've completed all the 120 questions, what you will see is something called as a review screen. If you see this screen, the feature that I thought the most helpful is the bottom right function: review all, review incomplete, and review marked. Okay, while attempting the questions, if you have flagged some questions, review marked will show that. If you have not attempted that questions and you click on review incomplete, it will take you to that question. And you want to review all the questions. If there is a miracle and you want to, you have so much of time left, you want to go through all, then review all is what you click. Okay, in the top, what you see are the number of are the questions, and the middle row, the red colored column, shows whether you attempted, whether it is complete, incomplete, or unseen. So that way the feature, the UI overall is very intuitive, very friendly. It should make your life easy. Okay, so that's about the UI. Suggested time for the section, what we suggest generally is that you take 30 minutes for quant, attempt around 25 to 30 questions. Reasoning and general intelligence, you should give 40 minutes because it is a section that can fetch you most of the marks. And verbal, another 30 minutes. Again, you can tweak this time limits plus minus 5 minutes depending on your strengths. You are clearly weak in maths and you want to leverage your scores in verbal, you obviously give 5 more minutes, take 5 minutes from maths, give it to verbal. Other way around if you are very good with maths and so on. Okay, but these are the broad guidelines that we think should have been done. Now, coming to the first section, quants and numerical ability, this is what our students reported. This is what the questions that you should do. This is what is seen. Set theory, 4 to 5 questions. Trigo, very important as always. It is not a surprise. Trigo has always been important for NPAT. 5 to 7 questions on Trigo. 3 questions on probability, followed by just 1 question on geometry. Again, as per the trend, nothing unusual about it. Quadratic, third indices had 5 questions. Surprisingly, functions was not very too many questions. Generally, last year or a year before that, we could see 3 to 4 questions on an average of functions in every NPAT attempt. This time, we could only see 1 question so far in functions. Sequence series 2, time and work 3 to 4 questions. The 2 DI sets, very important. The 2 DI sets, one majorly were on arithmetic, 4 questions each. But what is striking about these DI sets are all the 8 questions were quantitative comparison questions, which means in every question you are supposed to calculate 2 values, compare the 2 values, and then answer or mark the option accordingly. Okay, I'm sure if you must have seen quantitative comparison type questions. If not, please do that also. Arithmetic had 1-2, algebra had 1-2 questions. So roughly this was the split for the quant section. What we found was the difficulty level of the quant is moderate to difficult. It is not very easy. So 25-ish questions is a good attempt. If you near about 30, 32-ish, it's a very good performance in quant. Okay. One more thing is that if you have seen the official sample paper released by NPAT on their website, a few questions you will see there also. A few questions in quant had only 2 or 3 options, like true, false, or somebody had 3 options, true, false, uncertain. There were a few questions which also had 5 options. Okay, so it's just that so you are mentally ready, so you're not thrown off when you see such a thing in the exam. So it's only for your mental preparation. You don't really have to practice anything separately for such questions. Okay. Moving on to the logic section, the reasoning and general intelligence section. Visual reasoning, again, as usual, 6 to 7 questions. Data sufficiency, as usual, over the years, it has been coming roughly 4 to 5 questions. Silogs, somebody said they saw, somebody said they did not. So silogs you may or may not see. Set theory, 3-4 questions. Coding, decoding, quite a few, 4 to 5 questions. There are odd man out questions this time, which were not very, very commonly seen till last year. So odd man out, and patterns is another common area that is tested, that they were around 2-3 questions. Linear or circular arrangement, 1 set for sure. So 4 questions of that. Verbal reasoning, you see assumption questions, inference questions, conclusion questions, 8 to 9 questions, all of them pretty simple. Okay, even the arrangement set was also not very difficult. Okay, so overall we felt it was an easy to moderate section. Definitely more than 30 questions to be attempted in this particular section. Okay, and if you are quick with logic, you should try and leverage this section the most. Moving on to the last section, English language, the verbal section. This is how the verbal section looked like. Somebody reported they had 3 RC passages. Somebody reported they had 4 RC passages. But all passages had 4 questions, as expected again. Roughly 2 to 3 passages, the first 2-3 passages are very simple, specific, detailed type questions, information directly available in the passage. One passage is general, which comes a slightly indirect questions on tone, author seems to agree with the most with or seems to disagree with most. Those kind of questions were seen in one of the passages. Okay. After that, it was pretty standard, the whole section. 5 parajumble questions, 5 spot error, 5 antonym synonym, not directly antonym synonym, which is very common in NPAT, but in a sentence you are supposed to ask, underline the word and you're supposed to give a synonym or etc. Fill in the blanks, 5 questions. Close passage, 2 passages, 4 questions each. Fill in the blank type questions. So yeah, that way verbal I think was the most standard question. No surprises at all in terms of difficulty level, in terms of pattern, or in terms of the type of questions. Okay, so as usual, verbal stays easy to moderate. So if you are even slightly confident about verbal as a section, you should not miss a single question in this particular section. None of the parajumbles were difficult. It was only that last RC, maybe 1 or 2 questions you may want to skip it, if at all, where the questions were indirect. Okay, so that completes our section-wise analysis. We now go to overall what were the good attempts in every section. So, as discussed, quantitative ability 28 to 32, reasoning 30 to 34 questions. Again, as I'm telling you, if you think you are quick with logic, you may go to 1 or 2 questions more. 35, 36 will definitely improve your scores. English language 35 to 37. If you are good at verbal, you need to touch 38 to 40 questions. So yeah, these were the good number of attempts which will get maybe assure a very good score, assure a good seat at NMIMS Mumbai campus, which anyway has the highest cutoff. Coming to the cutoffs that we were discussing from the last 2 years, BSc Fin has been having the highest cutoffs at Bombay campus. So BSc Finance 78 to 80. These are the scores which is by purely our educated guess, purely our estimate. NPAT does not release the scores. So no student ever comes to know what their scores are, how much they have scored. This is purely our guesswork that this is the range. 65 and above should get you the top 2-3 courses at Bombay campus, and the other courses maybe 55ish, 60 should be a good range. So yeah, that's about it for the NPAT analysis. I really hope you do well. I really hope this extra bit of information helped you apart from your actual core preparation, which is what you should be banking on more. This is just a small tidbit at the end of your preparation. So yes, write enough mocks before you take the actual attempt. Try and do all the 3 attempts within the time period that they have mentioned. All the very best and do really well at NPAT 2025.